behind the pace car, and the two Sierras tucked in behind the two Nissans. But Howell seemingly has the problem. He's pulled off. Now that is really hard luck for Gareth Howell. 4 fastest in practice, pulled out of the race with a problem, and that is a very sad situation indeed. But they're going to take the start. I thought they might move that car. They haven't. Kurt Luby weaving in the background there. Neil straight into the lead. Tucked in behind the second of the Nissan. And determinedly so. Squires tucks himself up there. And Kurt Luby. Luby goes on onto the grass and whacks that tyre wall. And that is Kurt Luby's race over, and the BMW out of it well and truly. The car upside down. Marshall's rushed to his aid as Neil has very much the charge. Greenway in third place. Pigney coming up from that 10-second penalty. But Matt Neal's in front. What's it feel like behind the wheel?
The other Nissan's very close at the moment. I've got to see if I can break his toe. The Sierra should be giving him some trouble, which will keep him busy, and hopefully I can make a break.
Matt Neal concerned about those brakes because the brakes in fact welded themselves on. This is a very hard circuit on brakes indeed, and you can see how close that battle is between the two Nissans. James Krakowski driving a fairly quiet race back there. But let's look at what happens to Kurt Luby. Here's the BMW driver, weaving about a bit at the start. I thought he had a slight bump there, but I don't think that had any effect on it at all. Gets himself out of line, gets it very sideways, is on the grass, and there's just nowhere to go except the tyres. Well, Kurt Luby, losing any chance of extending his lead in the championship, climbs out of the car and walks disconsolately away from it, as Matt Neal now ahead of Squires. Going well also the BMW brigade, certainly at the moment, is going very much in the hands of Steve Griffin, and he must be happy to have things right for a change. You can see the big effort that's being made by Pigney coming up on the inside there. Krakowski, the man who's being demoted. And you saw a flash there of Heather Bailey as well, who's also moving up quite rapidly.
The two
Nissans, first and second, a little bit of a gap appearing between them now. Heather Bailey moving up rapidly, but Matt Neal's behind the wheel of that Nissan. We've got a chance to ask him what it's like to drive it round Mallory.
Getting a fair bit of wheel spin out of the hairpin. That's where the Sierras should catch a Nissan, they're so much lighter.
So Matt Neal with the ability to talk to us, the movable camera, it's all dancing and swinging, and he's in the lead. And Steve Griffin is leading his class, and up comes for another place there. Pigney, who seemed to have woken up Krakowski. But the Nissans, now reliable enough to go 24 hours in Group A and Group N form, stand, I would think, even a better chance at Silverstone this year. Indeed, they only lost Donington because a pit error put them out as Griffin gets on the grass and off again. Matt Neal, out through Shaw's hairpin, accelerating down towards the Devil's Elbow, brings us up to date.
I've broken the toe, I can start trying to make better times now.
And this in real terms means that he can pick his line into the corner. You can see a bit of understeer there. Bags of power in that Nissan. As Griffin really defending his position hard. I would have thought he shouldn't have to worry too much because he's defending it against Fords rather than BMWs. It's the class really that he should be counting on winning. Down through on the inside goes Bartram. Nips up a place as Matt Neal into and out of Shaw's, and going very wide there, the second Nissan. Squires threw it all away and lost himself a place as a result of it to a really hard-charging Greenway. And that is going to do Frank Greenway's championship chances no harm at all. Bartram with on his tail David Pigney. Krakowski, who's fallen back a little bit from that battle now, and a bit of smoke coming out of the car, and Heather Bailey there closing in on him. So now can Pinkney do anything? Pinkney trying to close on Bartram. Gained a bit of ground there through the S's. Also going well is Peter Clark. But try as he might, Squires can't get back ahead of Greenway. So the Nissans in first and third places. Bukowski gets it through 180 degrees. Sets off behind Graham Coombs there. Lost a couple of places as a result of that manoeuvre. And here comes Pinkney on the inside. Bartram on the outside. But it was just a little bit too tight there. Wasn't quite able to make it. Pete Clark trying to sort out Griffin at the same time. There's Greenway, there's Squires, that's the second and third position battle. Here's fourth place battle on the inside. Pinkney trying for it, he's got the inside line, or if he can stay there, he'll have the inside line as they go to Shaw's. And he's still got that inside line. Bartram's going to go around the outside of him, but he does so and seems to have the grunt to pull away. Yes, he's still there. But Pinkney is not giving an inch. Matt Neal leads. Greenway second. Squires third. And the battle now for fourth and fifth places.
This time ahead of Frank Greenway in the number 12 car.
Raising the dust. That, I think, indicates that the tyres are giving up just a little bit. Matt Neal over the grass there. Into Shaw's hairpin. Crosses the arms, feeds the power on, comes out, the tail does not slide outwards. Still the battle going on, as now we've got Pinkney giving his close attentions to Mr. Squires. And looking as if he might dislodge him as well. Puff of smoke from Squires' car. Greenway there you can see, ahead now in second place. Pinkney looks at the inside, and Squires is relegated to fourth. So that's hard luck for Robert Squires, who was second, is now back to fourth place, and I don't think that car's too healthy. A dive by Graham Coombs on the inside, sees him demote Bukowski, and Peter Pirelli Tyson got a bit sideways there and almost did it as well. But now the interest centred on this man. Can David Pinkney close the gap on Greenway? Can he snatch away what is after all second place? And right now it looks as if he's making inroads, but I don't know whether or not he's going to have enough time left, particularly on this circuit where tyres and brakes are definitely at a premium. Matt Neal, you're into your last lap. Are they affecting you?
The brake pedal is starting to get very long. Still seems to be doing the job, but hopefully it will hang on in there.
Hang on in there being the name of the game. He's just got the straight to get down. As we watch this battle raging on with Pinkney trying to close the gap. A puff of smoke from that car, which blew a head gasket, as we know, would indicate perhaps it's not as healthy as it might be. But here's Matt Neal over the curb once again. Doesn't bother about that. In a long-distance race, he wouldn't do that because it wears the suspension. But here he can afford to use every bit of road and save those tyres, save those brakes. He's well on his way down now towards the checkered flag. Pinkney's battle to take away that second place looks as if it's going to be unsuccessful. There's the flag. Matt Neal flashes the lights to indicate that he knows it's there. He's won the race. Here's the battle. Greenway is second. Pinkney is third. So that's quite a charge up for Pinkney. Don't forget he started with 10 seconds penalty from the back row of the grid. Squires next up, followed by Bartram, and then the charging Heather Bailey ahead of Pete Clark. And sadly, news is coming through that Pinkney looks as if he's lost those points. They aren't happy with the car, so Matt Neal, the winner from Greenway. Pinkney's disqualified from third place, so that goes to Robert Squires. Everybody therefore moves up one. And while Matthew Neal is dealing with the